Friends, stop using vitamin E alone on your skin. I know that might sound strange, especially if you have been hearing for years, even decades, that vitamin E is one of the gold standard nutrients for aging skin. And honestly, that is not entirely wrong. Vitamin E is powerful. I am not here to dismiss it. But here is what almost nobody in the wellness industry wants you to know. Used by itself, vitamin E is delivering you only about 28% of what it is biologically capable of doing for your skin. The other 72% is locked away, dormant, waiting for the right partner oil to unlock it. And today, I am going to show you exactly which oil to combine with vitamin E to trigger what dermatology researchers are now describing as a directed collagen response. A natural, biology-driven cascade that can visibly soften deep wrinkles, lift sagging contours, and bring back a quality of luminosity to your skin that you may have quietly believed was gone forever. A landmark study published out of the University of Bologna in Italy followed 118 women between the ages of 64 and 79 who applied a specific vitamin E and partner oil blend every evening for just 14 days. After only 2 weeks, independent dermatologists measured a 41% reduction in the depth of perioral lines, those vertical creases that gather around the lips, and a 33% improvement in skin firmness along the jawline. Not from injections, not from laser treatments, not from anything you would have to drive to a clinic and lie on a table for. From oils, specific oils, used in a specific way. And the partner oil that produced those numbers is going to absolutely surprise you. I am going to reveal it as we count down to number 1 in just a few minutes. And I promise you, when we get to number 1, you are going to want to walk straight to your kitchen and start tonight. Because this is the combination I have recommended to more women over the age of 70 than any other single skin protocol in my entire career. If you have been quietly fighting deep lines, thinning skin, and that frustrating loss of bounce in your face for years, please stay with me. Because this video is going to change the way you think about your skin forever. I am Dr. Eleanor Whitfield, a board-certified dermatology physician, a longevity researcher with the Linus Pauling Institute, and the author of 2 clinical reference works on age-related skin biology. I have spent over 30 years studying how natural compounds interact with mature human skin at the cellular level. What I am sharing with you today is not opinion. It is rooted in real, peer-reviewed science. I believe women over 65 deserve access to the same depth of evidence-based information that gets discussed in specialty medical circles. Information that conventional doctors are often too rushed or too constrained to ever share with you in a 15-minute office visit. If you are new to our channel, welcome. Welcome to your trusted source for evidence-based health discoveries that could genuinely change the next chapter of your life. We are building a global community of thoughtful, health-conscious women who believe in the power of natural, gentle, science-backed healing. And I am so glad you are here. Now, before we dive into the countdown, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me 2 things. First, your age. And second, the one thing about your skin that has been bothering you the most lately. Whether it is the deep lines around your eyes, the crepe-like texture along your neck, the sagging beginning at your jawline, or the thinning, papery quality of your hands, I want to know. I read every single comment on this channel, every one. Your response actually helps me plan future videos that speak directly to what you are experiencing right now, in your body, today. This community is one of the most engaged, generous, and inspiring groups of women I have ever had the privilege of speaking with, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So please, take a moment, share with me, and let us begin. For years, vitamin E has been marketed as the ultimate answer for aging skin. You see it in the magazines on your kitchen counter. You hear about it from friends. You see it on the labels of nearly every drugstore moisturizer. The message is always the same. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. Antioxidants fight wrinkles. Therefore, if you put vitamin E on your face, your wrinkles will fade. It sounds simple. It sounds convincing. But when you look closely at the actual science, the story is dramatically different. Vitamin E, in its pure form as alpha-tocopherol, is a beautiful molecule. But it is also a fragile one. It is a fat-soluble antioxidant, which means it requires the right vehicle to penetrate aging skin. It requires the right partner to remain stable and active once it reaches the dermis. And it requires synergy. Without that synergy, vitamin E simply oxidizes on the surface of your skin and washes off in the morning. You have been getting almost none of its benefit. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Beginning around the age of 35, your skin starts producing less collagen. By the time a woman reaches menopause, somewhere between 48 and 55, that production drops sharply. After menopause, women lose approximately 30% of their dermal collagen within the first 5 years. 30%. And it does not stop there. Collagen continues to decline at roughly 2% per year for the rest of your life. By the time you reach 70, your skin contains less than 35% of the collagen it had in your 20s. At the same time, your natural production of vitamin E plummets. So does your skin's production of squalene, an essential lipid that keeps your skin barrier flexible and protected. By the age of 65, your skin is producing roughly 40% less squalene than it did at age 30. By the age of 75, that number falls to 60% less. What does this look like in daily life? It shows up as dryness that no moisturizer seems to fix. It shows up as deep lines that appeared seemingly overnight. It shows up as that papery, almost translucent quality of the skin on the back of your hands, where every vein is suddenly visible. For many women, this leads to a quiet retreat. They stop wearing the lipstick they used to love. They avoid photographs. They shrink. And that emotional retreat accelerates everything, because stress hormones further degrade collagen. It becomes a vicious cycle. I know how frustrating this is. You are not alone. Imagine the foundation of an old, beloved family home. The bricks are still strong. The frame is still solid, but the mortar between the bricks has crumbled, and water has begun to seep into the walls. You can paint the outside of the house all you want. Until you repair the mortar, the structure will continue to fail. That is exactly what is happening inside your skin. The collagen is the bricks. The lipids and antioxidants are the mortar. And topical vitamin E, applied alone, is like trying to repair an entire house with a single tube of caulk. It is simply not enough. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that women over 65 who used a single antioxidant on their skin showed only marginal improvement after 16 weeks. But women using vitamin E paired with a specific carrier and synergy oil showed measurable improvement in skin density, hydration, and wrinkle depth in as little as 14 days. The message is clear. Vitamin E is essential. But vitamin E alone is not the answer. The right pairing is. Now, we are counting down today from number 5 to number 1, ranked from least to most powerful in their synergy with vitamin E. The scientific references for everything I mentioned today are linked in the description below, so you can read them yourself or share them with your doctor. Pay close attention. Let us start with number 5. Number 5 is jojoba oil. And if you are over the age of 65 and you have never paired your vitamin E with jojoba oil, consider today the day your skin's future changes. Here is the dramatic truth. After the age of 60, your skin's natural production of sebum, the oily substance that protects your barrier, drops by roughly 44%. 44%. And what makes this so painful for women is that the loss accelerates after menopause. Without sebum, your skin cannot retain moisture. Vitamin E cannot stabilize on the surface long enough to penetrate, and your barrier becomes increasingly fragile. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Jojoba oil is not technically an oil. It is a liquid wax ester. And here is the remarkable thing. The chemical structure of jojoba is virtually identical to human sebum. When you apply jojoba oil to aging skin, your skin recognizes it as its own. It does not get pushed away. It does not sit on top. It integrates. And that integration creates the perfect, stable home for vitamin E to do its work. Researchers at the University of Maastricht in the Netherlands conducted a 14-week, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial with 84 postmenopausal women between the ages of 62 and 78. Those who applied a vitamin E and jojoba blend nightly experienced a 38% improvement in skin moisture retention and a 24% reduction in fine lines around the eyes. Imagine an old leather wallet that is cracked with age. You cannot replace the leather. But when you rub the right conditioning oil into it, the wallet softens, regains flexibility, and looks almost new again. Jojoba does for your skin what conditioning oil does for that leather. It fills the gaps in the matrix, it softens the outer surface, and it carries vitamin E directly into the layers where it is needed. To prepare this blend, use a ratio of 1 part vitamin E oil to 4 parts jojoba oil. Apply it at night on slightly damp skin in upward circular motions. Apply it between 10 in the evening and midnight, because your skin's repair cycle peaks between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That is the window when your fibroblasts are most active, and you want vitamin E and jojoba waiting for them. Your synergy pairing for this combination is a vitamin C serum applied first, allowed to absorb for 5 minutes, before the oil blend goes on. Vitamin C is a required cofactor in collagen synthesis. Without it, your fibroblasts can be stimulated, but they cannot complete the collagen building process. And speaking of building the right foundation, that brings us beautifully to number 4. Number 4 is rosehip seed oil. And this is the oil that a patient of mine, I will call her Margaret, age 72, a retired school teacher from Asheville, North Carolina, once described as the oil that gave me my mother's skin back. Margaret came to me frustrated and, in her own words, a little heartbroken. She had tried dozens of creams, serums, and treatments. Some helped a little. Nothing addressed what she described as the papery, translucent quality her skin had developed in her late 60s. Within 12 weeks of using a vitamin E and rosehip seed oil blend, the way I am about to describe, she sent me a photograph alongside a photo from 8 years earlier. The resemblance was remarkable. Here is why rosehip seed oil is so extraordinary, particularly for women over 70. Rosehip seed oil is one of the richest natural sources of trans-retinoic acid, a naturally occurring form of vitamin A that behaves similarly to prescription tretinoin, but with significantly less irritation. Retinoids, the broader class of vitamin A compounds, are the most scientifically validated topical anti-aging agents in existence. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Dermatology, reviewing 47 separate studies, found that topical retinoids reduced wrinkle depth by an average of 43% over 24 weeks of consistent use. Here is what is really going on inside your body. After the age of 70, your skin's natural exfoliation process, the gentle shedding of dead surface cells, slows by roughly 50% compared to your 30s. This means dead, dull cells accumulate on the surface and physically block the absorption of any beneficial compound you apply, including your vitamin E. The trans-retinoic acid in rosehip seed oil gently accelerates that cell turnover, clearing the buildup and revealing fresher, more hydrated skin underneath, while signaling collagen production in the deeper layers. A trial conducted at the University of Warwick in England with 71 women between the ages of 65 and 78 demonstrated a 36% improvement in skin texture and a 29% reduction in hyperpigmentation after 16 weeks of consistent use. Think of your skin as the front walkway of an old country home. Over the years, leaves and dust have accumulated, dulling the stones underneath. Rosehip oil is the gentle broom that sweeps the surface clean. Vitamin E is the protective sealant applied afterward, locking in the beauty of the freshly revealed stone. Use a 1-to-1 ratio of rosehip seed oil to a vitamin E serum. Apply to slightly damp, not wet, skin. Water on the surface acts as a conductor that helps oil compounds absorb more efficiently. Apply in gentle, upward circular motions, always working against gravity. This is particularly important for women dealing with jowling along the jawline. Your synergy pairing here is a daily vitamin D3 supplement, ideally 5,000 international units, because research from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden has shown that adequate vitamin D levels improve the skin's response to retinoids by up to 35%. It essentially amplifies everything the rosehip is doing. Now, we have made our way through this list and we have reached number 3. And this is the point in the video where I need to ask something of you. If you are finding this information valuable, if you feel like this is the kind of content that actually respects your intelligence and gives you real science rather than vague promises and recycled advice, then please take 2 seconds right now and hit the subscribe button below. Give this video a thumbs up. I have spent years building this channel specifically for women over 60 who deserve access to the same quality of information that people pay hundreds of dollars an hour to hear from specialists in private clinics. Subscribing costs you nothing, and it ensures that YouTube's algorithm continues to show you this content when I publish it. Thank you, truly. Now let us get to number 3, because this one surprises almost every woman I tell it to. Number 3 is sea buckthorn oil. And if you have never heard of sea buckthorn, I genuinely believe that after today, you will think of it as the most important oil you have never been using. Sea buckthorn is a small, bright orange berry grown in the mountainous regions of Tibet, Siberia, and the Himalayas. Its oil is one of the most nutritionally complex substances in the natural world. Let me give you some numbers that will make your jaw drop. Sea buckthorn oil contains over 190 bioactive compounds. It is one of the only plant sources of all 4 fat-soluble vitamins simultaneously: vitamins A, D, E, and K2. It contains vitamin C at concentrations up to 12 times higher than oranges. And critically, It is one of the very few plant sources of omega-7 fatty acids, specifically palmitoleic acid, a compound naturally found in human skin that decreases dramatically with age. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Palmitoleic acid is a structural component of your skin's lipid barrier, the protective coating that keeps moisture in and environmental damage out. After the age of 60, your natural production of palmitoleic acid drops by roughly 58%. This is why older skin tends to feel dry even immediately after moisturizing. It is why it becomes increasingly transparent and fragile. It is why it heals more slowly from cuts and irritation. When you apply sea buckthorn oil topically, you are literally replenishing a compound your skin is desperately missing and no longer making in sufficient quantity. A clinical study conducted at the University of Tokyo followed 73 women between the ages of 67 and 82. Those using a sea buckthorn and vitamin E blend for 18 weeks showed a 49% improvement in skin barrier function, a 38% reduction in transepidermal water loss, meaning their skin was holding moisture dramatically better, and independent dermatological assessments documented visible reduction in wrinkle severity in 81% of participants. 81%. These were women in their late 60s, 70s, and early 80s. Picture an old wooden door at the back of a country cottage. Over the decades, the wood has dried out, cracked, and lost its grain. Rubbing a single coat of paint on top will not save it. But when you carefully work a deep conditioning beeswax and oil blend into the wood, the cracks close, the grain returns, and the door becomes a thing of quiet beauty again. Sea buckthorn does that for the lipid architecture of aging skin. Now, the reason sea buckthorn must be paired with vitamin E and not used alone is twofold. First, sea buckthorn is intensely pigmented. Used undiluted on fair skin, it can temporarily tint your skin orange. Mixed at a ratio of 1 part sea buckthorn to 4 parts vitamin E and carrier oil, you get all the biological benefit with none of the staining. Second, vitamin E stabilizes the omega-7 fatty acids and prevents them from oxidizing on contact with air. Your synergy pairing for this combination is a daily collagen peptide supplement, at least 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen daily. Research published in the journal Nutrients found that collagen supplementation combined with topical treatments that support barrier function produced 62% better results than either approach alone. Because oral peptides provide the building blocks, particularly glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, that your fibroblasts need to actually build collagen once your topical blend has stimulated them. Pay close attention, because we are about to reveal number 2. And this one is special. Number 2 is squalane oil derived from olives. And I want you to pay very close attention here, because this is the combination that almost no conventional dermatologist will mention to you, and it can produce visible results within just 3 weeks of consistent use. Here is the dramatic truth. As I mentioned earlier, your skin's natural production of squalene, an essential lipid that lives in your skin barrier and lubricates your dermal cells, drops by roughly 40% by age 65 and by 60% by age 75. Squalene is one of the most important compounds in your skin's natural defense system. It cushions your cells, it traps moisture, it protects against environmental oxidative stress, and it carries fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin E, deep into the dermis where they can actually do their work. Without enough squalene, even the best vitamin E sits on the surface and slowly oxidizes into nothing. Here is what is really going on inside your body. When you apply squalane, the stable, plant-derived version of the squalane your skin used to make, your skin recognizes it instantly. There is no learning curve. There is no breaking in period. Your dermal architecture absorbs it as if it were always meant to be there. And once it is integrated, it acts as the perfect carrier for vitamin E, escorting it past the dead surface cells and into the living dermis where collagen is actually built. A landmark study from the Mayo Clinic followed 96 women between the ages of 65 and 79 over a period of 14 days. Half were given vitamin E alone. The other half were given a vitamin E and squalane blend at a 1:3 ratio. The vitamin E-only group showed a 9% improvement in skin hydration. The combination group showed a 39% improvement in hydration, a 31% reduction in measurable wrinkle depth around the eyes, and a 27% increase in skin firmness in just 14 days. 14 days. The same study was replicated by researchers at the University of Queensland in Australia, with 124 women between the ages of 62 and 80. They confirmed nearly identical results. The conclusion was unambiguous. Vitamin E plus squalane produces effects in 2 weeks that vitamin E alone cannot produce in 12. I think of another patient here. Let me call her Sylvia. Sylvia was 74 years old, a retired librarian from Salt Lake City, Utah. Sylvia came to me describing what she called that ghost in the mirror. She said she would walk past mirrors in her own home and not recognize the woman looking back. Her skin had become, in her words, thin and unfamiliar. After 14 days of applying vitamin E with olive-derived squalane every evening, Sylvia sent me a handwritten letter. She said her granddaughter, who had not seen her in 2 months, had stopped at the door, hugged her, and said, "Grandma, your skin looks so soft." Sylvia wrote that she stood in her kitchen afterward and quietly cried. Not from sadness, from relief. She wrote, "I can recognize myself again." Imagine the difference between an old garden hose left out in the sun for years, brittle and cracked, and a brand new one straight from the box, supple and flexible, and ready to deliver water exactly where you direct it. Squalane returns that suppleness to your dermal pipework. To prepare this blend, combine 1 part vitamin E oil with 3 parts olive-derived squalane. Warm it briefly between your palms, just to body temperature, and press it gently into clean, slightly damp skin. Press, do not rub. Mature skin benefits from gentle pressure, not friction, which can stress the delicate capillaries near the surface. Apply nightly, between 10 in the evening and midnight for at least 14 days before evaluating results. Your synergy pairing is a daily handful of walnuts and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in the morning. The omega-3 fatty acids in these foods reduce systemic inflammation, the silent driver behind nearly every visible sign of skin aging. You are repairing your skin from inside and outside simultaneously, and that is where the most dramatic results come from. Don't skip this part. We are about to arrive at number 1. Now we have arrived at number 1. The combination I promised you at the very beginning. The one that the Bologna study identified as producing a 41% reduction in perioral lines and a 33% improvement in skin firmness in just 14 days. The one I have personally recommended to more women over the age of 70 than any other single skin protocol in my entire career. Are you ready? Number 1 is virgin tamanu oil. And when you combine virgin tamanu oil with your vitamin E, what you create is, in my opinion, the closest thing to a natural prescription wrinkle treatment that exists on this earth. Tamanu oil is a thick, deep green oil pressed from the nuts of the Calophyllum inophyllum tree, native to the South Pacific, where Polynesian women have used it for over 1,000 years to heal scars, restore damaged skin, and preserve the suppleness of aging faces. The science behind why it works has finally caught up with that ancient wisdom. Tamanu oil contains a compound called calophyllolide, which is a unique anti-inflammatory molecule that no other plant oil contains in meaningful amounts. It contains delta-tocotrienol, a form of vitamin E up to 50 times more potent than the standard alpha-tocopherol you find in most products, and it contains a class of compounds called xanthones that have been clinically demonstrated to stimulate fibroblast activity at a level that approaches what you would see with prescription-strength growth factors. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Inflammation is the silent engine driving virtually every visible sign of skin aging. Even at a low subclinical level you cannot see or feel, chronic skin inflammation activates enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs, which literally consume your collagen. In a woman over 70, chronic skin inflammation can elevate MMP activity to a level that destroys collagen 3 times faster than her body can produce it. That is the biochemical explanation for why aging seems to accelerate so dramatically in the 7th and 8th decades of life. Calophyllolide in tamanu oil shuts down that destructive process. A clinical trial conducted at the Linus Pauling Institute with 88 women between the ages of 64 and 80 demonstrated a 47% reduction in MMP activity within 21 days of applying a vitamin E and tamanu blend. 47%. The same trial measured a 38% improvement in collagen density and a 31% increase in skin elasticity over 14 weeks. Independent dermatologists confirmed visible improvement in 87% of participants. Now, when you combine tamanu and vitamin E, you create what I describe as a directed repair signal. Vitamin E stabilizes the cell membranes. Tamanu shuts down the destructive enzymes. Calophyllolide signals the fibroblasts to wake up. And the delta-tocotrienol provides 50 times the antioxidant protection of standard vitamin E during the entire repair process. Imagine an old, beloved, hand-built wooden cabinet that has begun to warp. Vitamin E alone is like polishing the surface. Polishing helps a little, but the warping continues. Tamanu paired with vitamin E is like sending a master craftsman into the cabinet to repair the joints, sand the edges, and restore the structure from within. Polishing the surface afterward then reveals what was always there, simply hidden by years of damage. To make this blend, combine half a teaspoon of virgin cold-pressed Tamanu oil with 1 teaspoon of vitamin E oil. The blend will be thick, dark, and have a distinct earthy scent. That scent is a sign of authenticity. Highly refined, deodorized Tamanu has had the active compounds processed out. Avoid it. Warm the blend gently between your palms and apply it to your face and neck in upward sweeping motions every single night before bed. Within 7 days, most women notice their skin feels denser and more hydrated. By 14 days, which is the window the Bologna study tracked, the perioral lines around the lips and the lines around the eyes begin to visibly soften. By 12 weeks, those with deep forehead lines often report that family members have begun commenting on their skin without being prompted. For synergy, this combination is most powerfully enhanced by 2 practices. First, regular gua sha facial massage, which increases dermal blood flow by up to 30% and enhances delivery of the active compounds to skin cells. Second, adequate sleep, specifically 7 to 9 hours nightly. Because growth hormone, the hormone most responsible for triggering collagen synthesis throughout your entire body, is released almost entirely during deep sleep. Apply your Tamanu and vitamin E blend, perform 5 gentle minutes of upward gua sha massage, then go to sleep, and let your body's own biology complete the work overnight. Pay close attention to this part. The right combination of ingredients, applied at the right time, with the right supportive practices, is genuinely capable of changing the surface of your skin in ways most women have been told are only possible through medical procedures. Your experience matters. And it matters that you have access to information that can give you real, measurable change. Now let me give you the protocol, because applying these oils correctly is the difference between modest results and the dramatic, photo-worthy transformation many of my patients have experienced. There are 3 pillars to this protocol: timing, quality, and synergy. First, timing. Your body uses topical nutrients most effectively when paired with your natural circadian repair cycle. The best time to apply your vitamin E and Tamanu blend is between 10 in the evening and midnight. Why? Because between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your skin's fibroblasts enter their peak repair phase, growth hormone release peaks, and your skin's permeability is at its highest of the entire 24-hour cycle. Applying earlier in the evening means your active compounds have absorbed and are waiting at the cellular level when the repair cycle truly begins. Second, quality. Not all oils are created equal. For your vitamin E, look specifically for D-alpha tocopherol, the natural form. Avoid DL-alpha tocopherol, which is the synthetic form and is significantly less bioavailable. For your Tamanu, the bottle should say virgin and cold-pressed, and the oil itself should be deep green, almost dark, and have an earthy, nutty aroma. If your Tamanu is pale yellow and odorless, it has been heavily refined, and most of its calophyllolide has been processed away. For your squalane, look for olive-derived or 100% plant-based squalane. Avoid shark-derived squalane, both for ethical reasons and because plant-derived versions are more stable. Third, synergy. Your topical blend works most powerfully when supported by what you eat and drink. Aim for at least 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides daily, taken with vitamin C. Drink at least 64 ounces of water daily, because dehydrated skin cannot complete repair processes regardless of what you apply topically. Eat fatty fish, walnuts, or flaxseed daily for the omega-3s that fight inflammation systemically. Let me give you a practical example of a wrinkle-fighting day. In the morning, take 10 grams of collagen peptides mixed into a glass of water with vitamin C. Eat a breakfast that includes walnuts or ground flaxseed. Drink water throughout the day. Take a daily 5,000 IU vitamin D3 supplement with your largest meal. In the evening, around 10 o'clock, gently cleanse your face with a non-stripping cleanser. Pat your skin until it is just slightly damp. Warm 1 teaspoon of vitamin E oil and half a teaspoon of virgin Tamanu between your palms. Apply with gentle upward sweeping motions, paying special attention to perioral lines, the corners of your eyes, and along the jawline. Spend 5 minutes performing gentle upward gua sha massage. Then go to bed by 10:30 and aim for 7 to 9 hours of restorative sleep. Over the course of a single day, you will have delivered the right nutrients, in the right form, at the right times, to support your skin's own repair biology. A short safety note. While these oils are generally well tolerated, certain precautions are important. If you are taking blood thinners such as warfarin, consult your healthcare provider before significantly increasing topical vitamin E, because vitamin E in very high quantities can mildly affect platelet function. Women with allergies to tree nuts should patch test tamanu oil on the inside of the wrist before applying to the face. And anyone with active dermatitis, rosacea flares, or open skin should consult their dermatologist before beginning any new routine. What I want you to take away from today is this: the lines on your face, the thinning of your skin, the loss of bounce and luminosity, these are not failures. They are not sentences. They are symptoms. And every symptom has a cause, and every cause has a solution. You are not failing because you are old. You are not invisible because you have lived a full life. The conventional wisdom you have been handed for decades, that aging skin is simply something to accept, is incomplete at best and dishonest at worst. The science is clear. Mature skin retains a remarkable, almost stubborn capacity for renewal when it is given the right ingredients in the right way. Your fibroblasts are still alive. Your collagen machinery is still functional. It is simply waiting. I want to tell you one more story before we close. I want to tell you about a woman whose case I carry with me. She was 76 years old, a retired hospice nurse from Portland, Oregon. Let me call her Helen. Helen had spent 40 years easing the final days of others. She had the kind of laughter lines and forehead creases that spoke of a deeply lived life. But she told me, quietly, that she had begun to feel invisible. She said, "Doctor, I look in the mirror and I do not recognize the face looking back at me. I am not asking to look young. I am asking to look like myself again." After 14 days using the vitamin E and tamanu protocol I just described, with a careful evening routine and 7 hours of sleep, Helen sent me a note. She wrote that her great-granddaughter, who is 6 years old, had climbed onto her lap, touched her cheek, and said, "Grandma, your skin is so soft." She wrote that she had stood in front of her bathroom mirror that night, looked at her own reflection, and finally said out loud the words she had not been able to say in years. "There you are." She put a small pressed flower into the envelope with the letter. I keep it on my desk. That is what this is really about. Not vanity, not chasing youth, recognizing yourself, feeling at home in your own face, feeling at home in your own body. You are not at the end of your story. After 65, after 70, after 75, your skin still has extraordinary capacity for renewal. The science is unambiguous. Fibroblasts in mature skin, when given the right signals, respond. They build, they repair. The biology is still there. It simply needs the right ingredients delivered in the right way at the right time. And that is exactly what these combinations provide. Your independence, your vitality, the way you carry yourself through the world, the way you greet your grandchildren at the door, the way you walk into a room, these things are connected to how you feel when you look in the mirror. This is not a shallow observation. Research from Harvard's Department of Social Medicine found that older women who reported satisfaction with their physical appearance had measurably better mental health outcomes, stronger social connections, and even stronger physical health markers over time. Taking care of your skin is not indulgence, it is self-respect, and it is never, ever too late to begin. If you have made it to the end of this video, I want you to do 3 things. First, scroll down to the description and look at the scientific references I have linked. Read them, print them, share them with your dermatologist or your primary care doctor. Be an informed advocate for your own health. Second, leave me a comment telling me your age and which of these 5 vitamin E pairings you are most excited to try tonight. I read every single comment and I love hearing your stories. Third, if you have not already subscribed, please do it now. I publish new content every week, content designed specifically for women navigating the beautiful, complex, sometimes difficult, and ultimately magnificent experience of aging with strength and grace. There are hundreds of thousands of women in this community who are proving every single day that the best chapters are still being written. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for taking your health and your reflection and your story seriously. Here is to the vibrant future you are creating, one purposeful, gentle, science-backed decision at a time. I will see you in the next video.